everybody. Happy Friday and welcome to Cub Chat Live. I'm Gina and we are joined by a first time guest, but she's been working behind the scenes for a very long time. She's our friend Wendy Curtin. She's the Director of Council Services. And guys, she's a volunteer like you. Yes, she's a den leader. So thanks for joining the show, Wendy.
Thanks, Gina. It's great to be with you.
We are super pumped to have you here. We've got to give you a big thanks for wearing your uniform. I know our audience is going to really like seeing that. Guys, this is the woman to ask if you have questions related to anything recruiting, anything related to your council. Drop those comments in our comment section. We'll be answering them live. But today we're really focused on why spring recruiting. It's the time to start getting your mind wrapped around what can we do this spring to bolster your dens and packs. And I want to just start off with the obvious question, Wendy. What's the difference between spring and fall recruitment? Is there a difference?
There's not really a difference. I just think it's another opportunity for us to introduce scouting to our families. We've been cooped up all winter. Maybe you've had like that really long winter where it's been super cold and you haven't been able to get out. This is a great time for you to bring those families out, get involved in scouting, get outdoors, and have some fun. So,
Do you feel like there's a difference in the families who are joining in the spring versus the fall?
um, you know, that's hard to say, just as a parent and knowing what activities my kids are in, maybe it works better for you in the spring and not necessarily in the fall. But I do find that it's a lot more fun in the spring just because you have a little bit more time, a little bit more daylight. It's starting to get warmer. You really want to start getting outdoors to where sometimes in the fall it's like, oh, it's starting to get cold and it's starting to get dark faster. So, that may be some of the change that we see. Just
Sure. I wonder
looking at
too if
our
like maybe there's like probably an opportunity with like the non-legacy scouting families, especially in the spring, because the people who've been involved in scouting might be seeing this as like a school year. Like you join scouting in the fall, you're going to move up next year, what have you. And these new families don't have any concept of that potentially. So they might be your golden opportunity, I think, to attract in the spring, especially if they don't know what like extracurricular activities their kids are going to do at that point. Um, what so why do we care about spring recruitment? I'm sure that there are dens out there who are like, we don't recruit in the spring. Why should they?
it is a good opportunity. Even with the fall recruitment, you're going to miss kids because parents say, oh, well, they're involved in, whatever sport or other activities in the fall. Giving them an opportunity to come try out things in the spring, get families outdoor. Um, you know, Looking at what my individual pack has, there's a ton of spring activities. And then we've got, our day camp program, and the council has a resident camp. I know all the parents out there right now are probably thinking, what am I going to do with my kid all summer? So these are two opportunities that you could get your kids involved in something outdoors, something fun, something that's structured and organized. So I think scouting's a great option.
Right. It's a perfect fit for a lot of families, right, at this time of year. And also we're in like a different couple of years, right? So like the fall was we were still like we tend to get locked down, it seems like, in the fall because illnesses are picking up and such right now. But right now we're like seeing kind of a decrease in this stuff, which is awesome. It means people are maybe ready to get back together at this time of year. It's a safer time to get back together. So this could be your golden spring if you're a volunteer out there. Reminder to keep commenting with your questions for Wendy all about spring recruiting. We're seeing the shout outs in the comments. I'll be reading those in just a second. But I want to get into what we're all here for. Any tips for spring recruitment, Wendy?
I would just say, think about those fun activities that your pack already has planned out, or if there's a den activity. A lot of the Cub Scout adventures revolve around things that are happening outdoors. Maybe it's a community hike and you invite, have all the kids invite their friends to come out. I know it's still a little bit dark right now, and we're quite a ways along with most of the kids that are in my den. So we're going to start doing just some fun things. We're going to have a family bowling night coming up. So, think of those fun activities. Where could you invite other families that haven't been involved in scouting and get them to come try it out?
Very good. So, a couple quick comments. Shout out to Pack 84. They are in New Philadelphia, Ohio. Hello, Rusty. And then Rob has a comment. He says that their pack always did spring recruiting when he was a Cub Master to get kids just finishing kindergarten to start fresh as Tigers in June and go to day camp. Would you mind talking a little bit about that, Wendy, especially in light of that now we've got Lions. So, how does that work in terms of getting kids primed to join as Tigers in the fall?
Yeah, so it is a good opportunity to get those kindergartners, kind of engaged into the program, have them come out to your day camp program. Now, make sure that you have a great day camp, because you don't want to ruin that experience for them if it's not a great day camp. But certainly invite them to great day camps. If you do the PAC Summertime Award, which asks you to have at least one activity each month of the summer, get them engaged in that. A great way for families to come together, get involved, stay active through the summertime. And then they're just ready to go in the fall. They're excited. They've had a great experience all summer. So I would just say, it is a wonderful time to keep them.
Well, it's easy to think, especially as a leader, like I'm guilty of this. You see the spring months as like, we're kind of wrapping things up. This isn't a good time for somebody to join. We don't have anything exciting coming up. Like, what's going to actually keep them in the program? Well, the golden ticket, I think, besides that you should be having all kinds of fun spring activities, is summer, right? How can you use summer activities to kind of bolster the interest in scouting?
With summertime activities, most of the kids love to swim, so find some of those fun activities that they want to do. Water activities, swimming. If you have, someone in your unit that has a pool, or go to a community pool, just kids are looking for things to do. Parents are looking for things to do. Offering those summertime events is great.
Yeah, I
Cook
love that.
s'mores, fireflies, whatever. Just be outside.
S'mores. That's right. And then if we back it up a bit more, what other kinds of activities might bring in new members throughout the spring?
Yeah, so I know we're looking at community hikes. We've got field days at community parks. A lot of it's just revolved around being outdoors, breaking out. Um, you know, as COVID has declined in most of our states, and we're getting rid of our pesky mask and stuff. Great opportunity just to bring families together, get them involved. Have a packed picnic or a den picnic, whatever. But bring families together, talk about interest, find out what the kids want to do. Don't forget to ask them what activities that they want to engage in.
And in the fall, I know we talk a lot about delivering on the promise early, getting outside early, making sure that new Cub Scout family experience is delivering on that, and getting outdoors with scouting. I assume the same is true with spring recruitment, and honestly, feel like the weather's better. So, I mean, any thoughts on that? How can you like? You might have a mix of families with experience at this point. 3/4 of the way through the year. How do you integrate the new families with a little bit more experienced families in some of your springtime outings?
Yeah, I mean, fun thing is to ask how many dads really like to participate and to go fishing. Not my favorite thing, but certainly I've got lots of dads that love to do that. So, engaging them, having them teach the kids how to fish, um, and then finding what other activities are out there that you could do and engage those families and get them involved.
Quick shout out to Pack 257 in Northport, Florida. Hello, Wayne, who's watching. Shout out to Circle 10, Pack 304, our neighbors. Marilyn makes one of my favorite points. There are less bugs in the spring with camping activities. Honestly, if you want to drill down, that could bring in some different families who maybe are like a little more wary of the bugs in the fall time. You could use that as a selling point. I think it would hook me.
Yeah.
Um, Jessie says she loves spring Cub Scouts. It's definitely different. She thinks for new parents, it offers a unique opportunity to ease into Scouts while still participating and Cubs still bonding with their den. Can you expound a little bit upon what that looks like, Wendy? The idea of they can maybe ease into it a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I think that in the fall sometimes parents feel pressure to jump in, full force and get involved. Spring to me, I think it's just a little bit less stressful because you're wrapping up the school year, you're winding down, you're looking forward to, family time. I don't know, it just, at least that's the way I feel. The kids aren't as stressed out. I'm not as stressed out. So,
That brings up something you had mentioned before we were live. How does advancement factor in to spring recruitment and your new families in the spring?
yeah. So spring recruitment is not designed for us to get the kids to rank. I know that there's units out there and there's people that say, yes, I want to get to rank. But your average family doesn't even know that rank exists, or that all of these adventures exist. They're looking for a fun activity that they can do with their kids. So don't stress yourself out. Don't feel like you have to get them to rank. Certainly let them know about the adventures. Let them know that it's an opportunity that they can do at home. But just include them in on the fun stuff that you have, and whatever adventures that they earn is what they earn. Just don't feel stressed out about it.
Sure. Okay. So Arnold brings up a challenge, perhaps that they might have with some of their spring recruited families. He says there's more rain cancellations for their spring campouts. That their legacy families always come, but their new families maybe don't want to make it out into that weather. Any tips for any leaders who are going through that, Wendy?
Yeah, I know with my pack, we open it up that, hey, we're going to have this activity. If it rains, don't feel like you have to be there. And we open things up to where they don't have to spend the entire weekend. If they want to come out just for a couple of hours and have some fun, then that's fine. Just make sure that you have a pretty good spring calendar, that parents can make it at least to a couple of events. And hopefully rain delays aren't a huge issue. But it is always challenging to get those springtime activities in there before the weather hits.
We've had some issues like that in the last few weeks and months here with like snow days and ice days, and definitely in Texas when we get ice, no one's doing anything. They're not coming to any unit meetings. We're not going to be doing an outing. No one's driving. So that does provide like kind of these challenges, and I just think so get something big on the calendar that's a few more weeks out, or kind of like dangle that carrot. Make sure that carrot doesn't just go away. It's not just canceled and then there's nothing on the calendar that's going to be really fun and engaging. Get something on there. I think. Okay, behind the scenes, Brian has a great question. So we're going to turn our heads a little bit more, our minds a little bit more towards volunteers. How does spring recruiting help with finding volunteers for the fall? He wonders.
Um, this has been a huge struggle for me this year. Just we recruited a lot of girls. I have a girl den, so when I say girls, I'm just referring to my den. Getting those parents engaged, inviting them to some of the fun activities. My hope is that they just kind of see that it's not that hard. Again, we're kind of in that less stressful time period, and then gradually getting them involved in the program, involved with the unit, and then hopefully in the spring you can have them. And Pat Wellen, I don't know if Pat's been on this show before, but Pat gave me a really good tip of, don't say, well, you have to be the den leader, or giving them some big assignment. Just find if you can recruit a couple of parents and say, hey, I need a lead coordinator, and then pass on those responsibilities within the den or the unit.
Yeah, like kind of not inventing those leadership roles, but like doing like micro delegations that you can
Yeah.
gradually grow, get somebody used to something. So then by the time the fall rolls around, you've got a family that hopefully feels a bit more experienced in Cub Scouts. We've got another very good, a little bit more in the weeds question I like. What is the date? What date is the cutoff between ranks? For example, when should a family register their child as a tiger or a wolf?
So it is usually the end of that grade year. So if your school lets out at the end of May, then it would be like the end of May. I know in the Northeast they go through the first couple of weeks of June. So after that school year, is when they can rank up. I know we had a couple of shifts in that due to COVID. I don't think that that's going to be the case this summer, as we look at ranking up. So.
And so that doesn't necessarily change depending on when a Cub Scout joins. So if they, let's say they join in March, they join tomorrow, that same rule
Yep.
is true.
Yep. So if they're in fourth grade, they're still going to be a wee blue. So
Very good. It's different than like Scouts BSA. It's truly age specific. Is basically
yes,
what I'm hearing. Yeah.
yes,
Okay,
that is
Jeremy.
it.
Okay, good. Jeremy says for summertime activities, we partnered with Scout BSA troops for fishing, picnics, and going to the local pool. What do you think about that, Wendy? I like that
No,
idea.
that's awesome. I think it builds that connection for the unit. The kids get to see, obviously, the younger kids love seeing the older kids in the program, but it does build that cohesiveness. Parents get to talk with other parents that are in the troop, because it is a big shift going from a leader in the pack to a leader in the troop. So
I think that we all underestimate the power of like aspirational interactions. Like the Cub Scouts love to see Scouts BSA age kids, I believe, and I hear it time and time again. Like we don't need to talk about ego with Cub Scouts, but they
mhm.
get pumped up when they hear about projects and all. It's kind of maybe solidifying their interest in staying in the program for a long time. So I really like that, and I also think I don't know. You tell me if you agree, but I think Scouts BSA youth enjoy that too. The younger ones are like, "Oh, the kids are so cute," and then the older ones, I think at that point they realize the value in what they're doing.
To a point. Like all teenage kids, they're kind of like, I don't want to hang out with the little guys anymore. But, it's not bad for an activity or two. So,
Hey, she's got the real life volunteer and parent experience, so we're gonna trust her on that one. Um, Lisa Wiley, good friend of the show, she's often on with us, says, "Thank you, Wendy, for being a guest on Cub Chat Live and talking about the value of spring recruitment." Totally echo that from all of us in the Cub Chat Live team. Michael or Michelle says, "I love the idea of partnering the packs with the troops on spring outings." Kevin says, "I see no reason why every Cup event couldn't be a bring a friend requirement. Our district helps us do a school night recruiting event in the fall. Is it appropriate to ask them to help us do something similar in the spring?"
I mean, if you've got that relationship with your school, take advantage of it. Talk to your principals. Um, there was a great blog the other day, and maybe Gina can share that with everyone. But it was talking about some of the values that we teach in scouting, and things that we should talk to our parents about. Just the engagement that we have with each other, conflict resolution. Just there were a ton of them. There was like 18 of them. It was just a really good article. So
Yes, it's on Brian on Scouting, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the list of skills that Gen Zers wish that they learned in
yes,
school. We'll
that is
drop a link
it.
to that in the comments so you guys can check it out. It's definitely a really great story. It's also on the homepage of Brian on Scouting, which is at blog.scoutingmagazine.org. Great call out on that, Wendy. I think that it was mentioned, like we were talking yesterday, that could be a helpful tool as you're planning your spring and fall recruitment, potentially seeing what we're hearing older youth really wish that they were learning.
Yep. Oh,
That
perfect.
link
Looky there.
behind the scenes Brian is on it. Okay, we're getting tons of comments, tons of views. um Danessa says pack 492 in Mid America Council, shout out to you guys, they do a lot of our fun activities in the spring. To name a few: spring family camp, fishing derby, Pinewood derby, continued elective belt loop den meetings. They stay active through the summer with community service projects, hikes, pack picnics, and camp. They encourage scouts to bring a friend to the above, but it seems to miss the mark because we don't get as many potential recruits as the fall. Best tips for units to get the word out for spring happenings to new families?
Um, I mean, repeat that question because I think I lost some of it in translation. So,
Yes. So it seems they're doing a lot of encouragement to bring friends through their summer activities, but they don't
yeah.
get as many new recruits in the fall when they go that route. Do you have any tips for units to get the word out for spring happenings to new families? So
Yeah,
like
I mean,
best communication tips.
I think, if you can get a flyer back into the school, just have that whole parent to parent, peer to peer recruitment opportunity. As you're out in the parks, if there's a place that you can put up information, whether it's a yard sign or some kind of flyer or poster. Um, any of your local shops, community centers, whatever. Just let people know what you're doing.
So I see too, Dinesh is actually saying that they don't get as many recruits as the fall. Is that to be expected, Wendy? I mean, is it normal that you would be recruiting, maybe get more kids in the fall, but getting a couple kids in the spring?
You could. I mean, I don't think there's the magic thing of whether or not you recruit in the spring or you recruit in the fall. I think any opportunity that we can have to invite new families to the program, whether they come in the spring or the fall, I don't think that matters. Just making yourself open to inviting and welcoming families at no matter what time of year should be your objective.
If there are any pack or den leaders out there watching who have super successful spring recruitment, or maybe even you focus more on spring recruitment than fall, there are those out there. Let us know. I'm just curious what you do and how it works for you. Um, Todd, who's watching, he's an Eagle Scout. He made it in 1998. Good job, Todd. Once an Eagle, always an Eagle. Uh, Austin says they worked together as a pack on the Nova Award last summer. They did the videos and discussion together, then split up to work on the adventures. They lined up the requirements so that they could incorporate everyone. Okay, so that's kind of interesting, taking something that maybe we think of as what you'd work on throughout the typical fall and spring and making it a summer activity, especially if you got a lot of spring recruits. Is that okay to do, Wendy?
Absolutely. So any of those fun activities that you can, pull in and make an add on to your program. I know sometimes we think that some of those STEM and Nova things may be extra, but make it a part of the fun adventure.
Yeah. Um, Arnold says that hearing about what the Scouts BSA kids get to do during their summer camps, high adventure camps, or Philmont is a big deal to their Cubs. That makes perfect sense to me, Arnold. I could definitely see that happening like very organically, and I'm sure that that's what the Scouts BSA kids are just naturally talking about when they get together anyway. So, very cool. Mary Lou says she's from the Golden Empire Council, packs 89 and 78. She taught camping and summer fun. Very cool. And okay, Arnold has a tip back to Danessa. She's saying you could try he's saying you could try posting recruiting events on community Facebook groups. Wendy, any ideas for how to use social media to bolster your spring recruitment efforts?
Yeah, we've done a lot of the geo fencing the last couple of years as part of our recruitment efforts. I think if you have those big activities, making a geo fence out of that and inviting families to engage in those is just another avenue of inviting families. So the posters, the yard signs, the Facebook invitations, geo fences, whatever you can do just to get the message out.
Behind the scenes, Aaron, who's also in front of the scenes, Aaron a lot of times, he loves to correct me, but I'm glad he did on this one. He's saying that Mary Lou, who I just read her comment, she's saying that we should be touting camping and summer fun for our spring recruiting. Exactly. I think that is one of the biggest tools you can have in your toolbox. Especially with Cubs, you hopefully have some summer camps, summer activities, day camps on the horizon. These are the things that can really draw in those springtime families. I am very curious if anybody watching has like a later than typical Pinewood Derby and how that might factor into your spring recruitment. Because I know there are units out there who race later in the spring. We think of a lot of like February, March races, but are there any out there who get new families involved in Pinewood Derby? And how does that work for you? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you've tried it and you're like, that's a lot for a brand new family. They're just not prepped. What are your thoughts on that, Wendy?
I think Pinewood Derby is it's a great event, which we have ours this weekend, so super excited about that. Um, but maybe you hold a community Pinewood Derby to where the scout doesn't necessarily have to build the car, but could come and pick out a car that's already built and race it. I think just being able to see that event, participate in that activity, and then just gives them something to look forward to when they get to build their own car.
Okay, that is brilliant. You could have like an open Pinewood Derby, encourage Cub Scouts who are willing to bring their cars and let other kids race them, talk to them about the Pinewood Derby, talk about other Cub Scout events. That is such a good idea. It's like a Cub Scout open house kind of.
Yeah.
If anybody out there is doing that, let us know how it goes. We'd love to see some pics. Okay. Fred from Fredericksburg, very cool, says that they have their official Pinewood Derby race in February and then do another one just for fun later in the spring. Fred, cool. So, how does that work out? Do new families come? What's different? Are you building cars again? Are the rules different? Let us know. Very, very good. Okay, so you've heard me mention, based on our comments, Wendy, some of the springtime activities that can provide, like a draw to new families. Are there any that we haven't thought about maybe utilizing some of our typical spring events that we can really use to draw in new families and maybe promote on social media or flyers, what have you?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with some of the comments earlier. The day camp program is a great way to bring in new families, get them pumped and excited to participate in that. Earth Day, which happens in the spring, is always another way to bring new families in and get them involved. Maybe you hold a community wide, trash pickup day, or some kind of other event that gets families involved and active. So just some things that our pack does with Earth Day, day camps, and just community activities in the park. So
Trash pickup's a good one, and community service activities like establishing the reliance or like the importance of service and scouting right off the bat, that seems important, and it seems like a way scouting can distinguish itself from other extracurricular programs that Cub Scouts might be interested in, Cub Scout age youth. Wendy, this has been very awesome. I know we only have a few more minutes, but what is something that we want everyone to take away about spring recruiting to fire us up, to get us out there, and not just wait till the fall to bring in some new families?
yeah, I just invite families to participate. Have a couple of fun springtime events that you can engage new families to come and check out scouting. Invite them to come to your day camp program, and don't stress out about the advancement. Just make it fun. That's what scouting's about.
That seems like it's the theme of our episodes every week. Make it fun, do your best. These are Cub Scout age kids. Anything we've missed, Wendy?
I don't think so. So, I mean, get out there, invite new families to join the program, and let's just have fun.
Let's do it. Wendy, this was awesome. It was a blast to have you on the show. We'd love to have you back. Tons of questions and comments. Guys, keep those coming. If you are watching this show after we're live, please keep commenting. We check the comments, we interact with you, and you're also providing a huge value to other volunteers who are reading your comments. So please keep those coming. Again, thank you, Wendy, for being on the show. Hopefully, we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Gina.